Last year, people yelled at me for not liking Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. This year, people are probably gonna yell at me again. Hello, welcome to another video. Today is the fateful day. We are going through my worst reads of 2019. My version of this last year received a little bit of harsh feedback. I had a few people yell at me last year for not liking Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Soz. And I feel like I'm probably going to have people yell at me again for something that features on this list. But you know what? We'll just take it. Everyone has their own opinion. And disclaimer, this is my opinion. This does not mean that these books are bad books. It does not mean that if you like them, I don't like you. I just don't like the books. If you've read these, I hope you like them. This is just an opinion. I feel like I had to put that out there just because, you know, I don't want people yelling at me for not liking a book. Thanks. But I do have my worst reads of the year here for you, and this time I've actually gone to the effort of putting them in an order. We're gonna start with the one I hated the least through to the one I hated the most. There's probably not going to be much recollection of these books. If I didn't enjoy something, I tend to forget a lot about it, and I'm not going to go to the effort of reminding myself about it for the sake of this video. So if you're after a more like in-depth review on these books that I didn't like, look for them somewhere else. I'll do my best. But like, if I say I can't remember it, that's why I didn't like it. It was unmemorable. So, yeah, without the rambling, let's just crack it off with the first one. There is 10 on this list, so coming in at number 10 is Circle of Shadows by Evelyn Skye. I really wanted to like this. I liked Evelyn Skye's The Crown's Game quite a lot, and I had high hopes for this. This is like a spy-type assassin-ish story. A society of assassins, an empire of magic, a world of secrets. Our two main characters are spies / assassins on some sort of secret mission, and they stumble across a camp of weird people that they suspect are the dead prince that's come back from the dead to, you know, cause all sorts of havoc on the world again. And it's that is the story, them discovering this, people not believing them doubting themselves, blah blah blah. There's also some sort of like romance plot in there as well, which served no purpose, in my opinion. All in all though, this was pretty forgetful to me. Like, I don't remember any of the details about it. I just remember being disappointed because I wanted to love it because it's Evelyn Skye and it's beautiful. Like, honestly, beautiful book. Assassins, spies, magic. It sounds like it should be something that I would love, but it was just not there. It didn't hit the mark for me. It wasn't terrible by any stretch. It just didn't hit the mark. Was not into the romance story. Forgot a lot of it. Didn't feel very passionately about it. And in the end, it came in at a very mediocre midway, 3-star. Don't really care for it, don't feel too passionately about it in either direction, just very forgetful. Coming in at number 9 is Moonstruck Volume 2. I am very disappointed in this. I liked Volume 1 a fair bit. This comic series follows a werewolf, and in the first one, our werewolf finds a girlfriend, and things are happy. Of course there's drama along the way, but, you know, yay. This one, however, like, the plot seemed irrelevant. It just seemed like an excuse to make the two main characters argue. Like, anything that happened, they would just row about it. They were both very aggressive, and I don't know if that was trying to, like, play on the werewolfy thing, like, they just get doggy with each other, because they are both werewolves. Werewolves. But yeah, any opportunity they had, they would just yell and get aggressive with each other, and the plot otherwise didn't really have much oomph. It just all felt like a device to have these characters argue constantly, and it just wasn't fun, and just erased the rest of the story, and there are some cool characters in here, and the illustrations are adorable. Look, here they are yelling. You just open a page and they're yelling at each other all the time. But the art is really cute, and all of the characters are like mythical creatures. So you've got elves, fairies, werewolves, centaurs, vampires. There's all sorts in here. One of the characters is like a Medusa type character. Like, it's all so pretty. And I really liked the first one and was looking forward to this one. And it was just arguments. So very disappointed. And I think I only gave this... Did I give this 3 stars or 2? I can't remember. I gave it 3 in the end. So, disappointed. Hopefully volume 3 will pick us back up and they won't yell at each other constantly. Coming in at number 8, we have The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano. This is one that I kind of accidentally read the first couple hundred pages, which you would think would be a good thing. I picked it up off my shelf one day thinking, I've had that forever, like what's going on with it? And I just started reading it, and then a few hours later I was a few hundred pages into it because I was still waiting to find out like what this is about. It was so boring. So it is about a girl who can turn things to stone, like anything she touches turns to stone. Otherwise, I have no idea. Like, I was so bored. I just kept reading, trying to find the point, and I just didn't get it. I just didn't get it at all. I was so bored. I think I gave it 3 stars, but now looking back on it, why? Maybe at the time there was something I enjoyed about it, and just as time's gone on, I've forgotten more. If I remember correctly, there's a guy that takes her on a ship and, like, kidnaps her. Yeah, just forgetful, didn't care for it. Will not be reading the sequel for that one. Coming in at number 7 is The Snow Spider by Jenny Nimmo. This is the trilogy collection, however I am just referring to book 1 because I have not read book 2 and book 3. This was very classically told, quite beautifully told, read like a very classic fairy tale. However, I did not care for this. I feel like this should have evoked some sort of emotion in me that it just didn't. So the story follows a young boy whose sister has passed away, and his nan is convinced that he's a magician and gifts him some strange presents, and somehow there's a spider, a brooch, a dead piece of seaweed, a tin whistle, a scarf, and a broken toy horse. And then there's a spider, yeah, but it's all about, like, the fact that his sister's gone, or they think she's dead, but she could have just gone missing. And I feel like for that story, like, you would expect to be a bit more emotional about it, but I just wasn't. But I think it's because the writing style was so, like, detached. I just felt nothing for it, and had honestly forgotten that I had read it until I went through my Goodreads and realised I read it this year and was like, oh yeah, forgotten most of that. But I will give it some credit for the writing being quite, like, beautiful. It was just detached. And the premise, and, like, the weird nan giving the weird gifts because she's convinced he's a magician, like, it's interesting. It just didn't hit the mark for me. It didn't deliver on any of the emotions that I think a story with that topic at the heart of it should. So, yeah, I gave that one 3 stars in the end as well. Next up is a book I don't actually own, or I do, but it's at my mum's in a loft somewhere because it's one that I had as a kid, and that is The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, the first book in the series of Unfortunate Events. I read this as a kid and couldn't remember it, and then this year thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to reread them? Like, I wonder if I would still like them. So I reread the first one and didn't like it, so I didn't continue. I gave it 3 stars because I liked it as a kid, and I acknowledge that I'm no longer the target audience for it, and if I liked it as a kid, it must have some merit there, but I didn't care for it. I was bored. I didn't understand, well, not that I didn't understand, but I didn't get the plot. Like, it was just too all over the place, too not nonsensical, just, like, shut up, slow down, what? Ugh. So if you're familiar with the series of unfortunate events, it's about the Baudelaire orphans. Their family home burns down and kills their parents. They are left an enormous fortune, and a mysterious uncle, Count Olaf, decides to take them in, but really he's just after their fortune and is trying to find a way to get to that, whether it be put them in a dangerous situation that would kill them without him being the culprit, or, you know, marry a 13-year-old. I just wasn't into it. Coming in at number 5 is The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. Again, I wanted to love this. Give them fire, give them fear, as the tagline just sounds like incredible. I thought I would love this. It's about a girl who it wasn't that she wanted to burn the world down. No, she just wanted the world to know that she could. It had such an interesting premise. They used teeth as magic. The crows in this world is what the lowest class of society is, and she is a variety of witch that uses teeth for magic. Sounds pretty cool. It was just completely unnecessarily dense, in my opinion. I was bored for so much of it. The romance was quite possibly one of the worst I've been exposed to, definitely this year. I just did not like it. I didn't get it. I was confused, but I wasn't confused because of the plot. Like, I got the plot. That wasn't confusing. It was just the unnecessarily dense writing style. Like, I would read something and realise I have no idea what I just read, and read it again, and it was just all over the place. And as I say, the romance was awful, and I'm so disappointed because the premise of this sounded so cool. So the crows, as I say, are the lowest tier in society in this world, and there is a plague, and the crows are tasked with taking the plagued bodies out because for some reason they are immune to said plague, and she uses teeth for magic, and the prince has died from the plague and they have to go to collect the prince's body, and that's kind of where the story kicks off. I won't say any more because spoilers if you want to read it. Not a fan of this myself, but I know that there are a lot of people out there that did like this, so if you're one of them, congrats. Maybe you just got the writing style a lot more than I did, because as I say, the premise was pretty cool. But yeah, disappointing. Did I give this one 3 or 2 stars? 3. I was being generous. 3 stars. Coming in at number 4, we then have Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Grishaverse trilogy, and I think this one potentially just suffers from the middle book curse. Like, it's the second book in a trilogy, it's in the middle, it's not memorable. I really cannot remember a lot that happened in this one at all, other than a certain character being introduced. But I only gave 4 books 2 stars this year, and this was one of them. Because I can't remember it, because it's suffering from the middle book curse, I can't tell you why, but clearly I did not like this one. I think it took me a ridiculously long time to read, because it just wasn't going anywhere. But yeah, one of the only 2 stars I've given this year, and I appear to have been generous to other books that I didn't like. And I did like the first and third book in this series, so clearly something went wrong with this one for me. Just can't remember what it was. Oh, disappointing. But I did like the first and the third one. This one just did not hit the mark. Coming in at number 3, we have Fire and Heist by Sarah Beth Durst. Disappointing entirely. This is about a family of wyverns. Like, they are people that can transform into wyverns. Dragons thing. They are descendants of dragons. They are wealthy because they steal shit. Socialite, were-dragon, thief. The only thing worth stealing is the truth. And it kind of plays on this, like, heist thing, like it's gonna be a kick-ass heist, and it really wasn't. The only way, in my mind, that I can think to describe this is pointless. I don't understand why this book exists. It's almost like a fluffy contemporary disguised as a dragon fantasy, because most of it is about our main character pining after her ex-boyfriend. I'm like, the amounts of times that happened and I just wanted to throw this book against a wall. Ugh. No, thank you. So, yeah, this one got a 2-star from me, and is being unhauled. Hopefully someone else will like it more than I did. If you are a person that likes fantasy and likes contemporary, then I see why you may like this more. But for someone who doesn't like contemporary, and it being a contemporary disguised as a fantasy, not for me. Did not have fun with this one. Nuh-uh. Coming in at number 2 is Ruby. Again, disappointing, but I will say on this one, I am for sure not the target audience on this. I think this particular book is for people who are a fan of the series. So Ruby is a manga series about these 4 girls who go to Beacon Academy, which is an academy where they learn to be huntresses and hunt the Grimm, which are these big awful creatures that prowl in the night. But there's also like so much else going on in this world. I watched the web series for the first season of it and never got any further, but liked what I saw. This is more than a story in itself, 4 mini stories about each of the girls kind of before that. And I think to really appreciate it, you need to be into the fandom, really care about these characters, and just be a lot more in the know than I am. I was just really let down by this. It fell completely flat because there's like no plot to this at all. Like literally none. There is not a plot. It's just like, this is what Ruby did one afternoon, this is what Hoist did one afternoon. There's no plot. So I was really disappointed by this. However, I would love to read a Ruby manga of an actual plot. And then coming in at number 1, my most hated book of the year is the one that people are going to yell at me for, and it's basically for the same reasons that I hated Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda last year, but it is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. Oh man, stop, no, don't throw that at me. I don't like contemporary. Let's drill that into myself, because really, I am totally at fault here. I don't like contemporary. I made the same mistake last year when I read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda because it was super hyped, and because it was super hyped, I thought, I know I don't like the genre, but everyone's loving that, so I'm bound to. Same thing happened with this. Like, I don't like contemporaries, but everyone's hyped about it. It's a graphic novel as well, like, it's gonna be light and breezy and fun, and there are contemporary graphic novels that I do like Giant Days. That's it, I think. So yeah, if I like that, maybe I could like this. No, I didn't. This follows 2 characters who work together in a pumpkin patch, and it is their last season together before they go off to different colleges. And it's them making their last shift together, a bit of an adventure. Just was not for me. I don't like contemporary, didn't like the romance aspect of it. Also, I'm really bitter about how much money I spent on it for half of it to be blank. Like, the chapters were like 3 pages and then there was like a couple of blank pages in between, and some of those chapters had like no words in them at all. The art, I will say the art was gorgeous. The art style was absolutely beautiful. I just didn't like the story. Awkward! Let's make 2020 the year that I just don't touch contemporary, because I clearly don't like it. And then I make this list and everyone hates me. Right, okay, well, I'm gonna shut up now. But that is my list for 2019, my list of worst reads of the year. If you have loved any of the books that I have mentioned, as I say, this is just my opinion. This is not a personal attack on you. If you like contemporary and you loved Pumpkinheads, I get that entirely. Just personal tastes. And for the most part this year, I read a lot of books that I did enjoy. Maybe I just need to refine my tastes a little more, be a little bit more selective, and don't fall for the contemporary hype, because you don't like them, Jade. You don't like them. But yeah, as I say, gonna stop rambling. thank you for watching. Let me know what your worst read of the year was as well down below, so I know what to avoid. If you agree with me on any of these, then I would love to discuss that. If you disagree with me, likewise, tell me what you loved about these books. Open my eyes to another angle. But please do so respectfully and don't yell at me. Thanks. Alright, I will see you in the next one. Bye!